Hey guys, so today I'm going to be going over our very first Mythic Artificer kill, and like normal, I'm not going to be explaining all the mechanics and what they do, but more of how me and my team decided to deal with the mechanics. And I'll also be kind of pointing out where I think we made the most mistakes, and kind of like advice for players that are getting ready to prog this fight. So the first decision that you're going to have to make is you're basically have to make three different teams. So there's going to be at three different points in that fight, there'll be odds that you have to go up and kill. You have like a certain amount of time to kill them. So for this first team, I think we had 6 players. So it was myself, a healer, and 4 DPS. It's pretty near the beginning of the fight, so like everyone had their DPS. And I think like the first mistake that we made, and this is more for platforms 2 and platforms 3, is that there was times when we were like really struggling to make the DPS check up on top of that platform. So what we did was we just kind of kept adding more and more players to make that check. But what that does is it kind of makes it harder than necessary, because more and more players are going to have the debuff from being up on top of the platforms. Every time you go up on the platform, you get like this stacking debuff that does damage. So obviously the more players that go, or like the more players that go twice are going to have like way more stacks than is reasonable. So for this tank ad, there's like some tech, I guess. It's a little bit confusing. So I only did the very first platform, and the big ad will do the 2 different abilities. One is a shield, and like one is like a frontal. So if I never taunted this ad, I'd always guarantee the frontal before the shield. Now on platform 2 and 3, the tank claimed that if he taunted, he guarantees the frontal as opposed to the shield. So kind of do what you want with that information. But what's really important is all the DPS kind of know where you're going to be standing, because the shield is guaranteed to spawn like where the tank is, then it'll rotate around. So what I always did was just stand in the middle of all the ads and have it face the outside wall. And I think that's like the easiest. So one of the other things that I think took us a bit too long to really do properly is to bait the traps. One of the differences between like this version of Artificer and the version of Artificer in Nathria is when he spawns the traps in Mythic, you can disarm them for like a short amount of time, but they'll never actually go away. So like if you have a bad bait in a trap of where you're going to be like in the future of the fight, it's going to fuck the entire pool basically. And I think this is something that we were like pretty inconsistent about, and I think I should have stressed a lot more as a raid leader. Baiting.
Garbage bait, man.
So you can even see there, like that was a pretty bad bait, but we ended up beating this ring, so it's okay. Yeah, so we beat. And like when it comes to these ads, there's a couple things. So when it comes to the ads, obviously the more grouped up, the easier it's going to be to kill them. And then one of the things is like the ads that do the debilitating ray. So you can kind of see it over here. You can kick the ray, but he will walk towards the target he has threat of, right? So if a tank or like a melee player doesn't have threats, then it's kind of pointless to kick them because they're just going to stay out in ranged. So I'd always try like mass group them together, and then we had a set rotation for stuns, but sometimes it'd get fucked up. I think here we missed the star stun, if I remember correctly. And one of the things I also told my players is kind of play like the frontal's going to go off, right? We're going to plan for it not to go off, but just in case if it's getting dicey, like don't trust that it's going to be stunned. So here it goes off. I think I'm the only player hit by it, which is fine.
Range soft to Sama. Going up in 4. Spinning Tsar. Baiting.
So you can see for our second team, it looks like we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. well, 8 including a tank. So that's 2 healers, 5 DPS, and 1 tank. And then downstairs, what's really important is you can see like players are baiting way far away from where we need to be. Because we're going to be kind of in this quadrant of the room for like a decent amount of time. So like good trap baits just make this fight so much easier.
Okay, take outer.
So here what's really important is that the entire raid knows where the tank bomb is going to go, because players need to position themselves to get dragged in a certain way. Because what you can do is you can drag players through traps and they get trapped, and it fucking sucks. All right, so we do the tank bomb, and then these baits are super important because we have to do like a little bit more time in this quadrant of the room.
Okay, take outer, guys.
Yeah, so this one's kind of scary because players take the portal, then you instantly want to spread left to bait the trap, and then I think this is like another area that took us a little bit too long to like really do consistently, is you bait the trap, and then what you want to have is an angle between you and like where the next tank bomb is going, and making sure you're not dragged through a trap.
Baiting.
So it's just kind of like lots of movement. So you go bait, the tank will go through the portal or Night Fate blink, and then you want a good angle, get sucked, and then spread back out. I think we kind of push slow here so we get an extra set of traps, but it's, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal because it's going to be in an area of the room that we're never going to go to again.
Look at that trap in the middle of the room. Don't run into it for ads. I'm gonna try to pull past it. Like towards me.
Yeah, that trap in the middle is kind of bad, but once again, it's not a huge deal.
Traps, left side.
So once again, the intermission is super standard.
Help kick that far. Okay.
Yeah, so I call it like help kick far, and like I taunt it. And you can see there's like a stacking dot that goes on the raid in this phase that just makes it like you just come on fucking finish as fast as you can. Outside of the ascension of the ads.
Focus. Remember, portal first, and then we can go up. We're going in 5 seconds.
So you can hear like the kind of code reader call something out that's really important. What you kind of have to stress is make sure if you are assigned to one of the ad platforms that the portal players get chosen before they go up to the ad platform. Because like what happened, I think too many times for us was players would kind of like instantly go up to the ad platform and then they get chosen for the portal drop off, and they kind of brick the pull, right? Because the portal is not going to be in a really bad spot. And this portal placement's in kind of like a different spot than every other one. So it's at moon and then like the edge of the room at blue. Alright, that's cool.
Traps.
So baiting traps here, really, really important. You're not going to have a lot of room to work with this portal placement.
Let's zoom up there. Don't go far. Just chill.
Careful.
Okay, take outer. Take.
So this like next, I think 15-20 seconds, I think is actually the hardest part of the fight in my mind. So what's gonna happen is I'm going to Night Fade blink past a ring. I'm gonna suck the entire raid, and they instantly have to spread out, bait portals or bait traps, and then we have to take the portal. What I would say is just like overcommit healing CDs to this phase because it's very chaotic for players, and like players should be saving like their Night Fade blinks or vent their teleports to just kind of make this easier. But you can see it gets pretty chaotic. So everyone gets gripped in, we insta link,
Spread.
then you spread, baiting traps, then you want to take this out portal. I think we end up losing 2 players here. Yeah.
Okay, res ping.
I got it.
Just, yeah, I don't need it. Just res ping.
Oh, res ping. 5 seconds. 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 5 seconds.
Right, Spire, we're gonna use your roar here. Spread and bait
I
shots,
already
guys.
used it, sorry.
So I think we got kind of lucky
Trap.
here. Like we weren't really baiting the chops the best, but we're also running out of space. And then the other area where I think I made a pretty big mistake as a raid leader is I was kind of convinced that you could skip the set of rings and just kind of instantly go into P3. And we ended up wasting some proc time here, but I think you're like almost always guaranteed to
Wait
get
buff
this set.
For the suck.
And this looks kind of difficult to do. There's just lots of movement.
Watch that one trap.
So there's kind of a bad trap.
Focus. You're taking outer first.
But here you just want like really clear raid calls and it'll be okay.
You're taking inner next. Take. And you'll be taking outer. Take.
So it's just outer, inner, outer.
Traps. Get ready to go to X, guys, with the
And then I
portal.
think this
Fireball
part of the
X.
fight's honestly one of the easiest compared to the others. If you make it to this part with like most of the raid team
Double
alive,
outer next.
it'll be okay.
Blue spirits and 15.
What's also really important about this phase, like the thing you kind of can't fuck up and wipe the raid, is these two portal placements. So it kind of has to be in the middle of the room and like the very outside of the room, or at least that's like our strat, where you can always skip in lines of two here. So the next time we take the portal, we're waiting for 2 rings spawning from the middle, and we're gonna be taking outer. And then the time after that, we're waiting for 2 outer rings to spawn, and then we'll take inner.
Play this patient. Call it.
So I called a play it patient here. And this one's like pretty easy to do. You have a decent amount of time. And like this tank drop off's kind of weird because you want to get away from the raids, but there's not a lot of time. It's like, and I call double inner. This one's like fucking terrifying. You kind of have to take it last second. And there's like a nice break of mechanics where you can just kind of do some DPS.
Just gonna leave him in the spirit itself.
Some close to a trap.
I don't know if you PI'd anyone, Bing, but use it.
Who?
Anyone, I don't know.
Yo, give me that shit. Sweet
Alright,
balls.
hit shots out of the way, guys. Should be doing double outer next.
So yeah, it's double outer next. So
Let's go place like the middle, or you can go towards the X. that's
yeah,
fine.
you definitely want to take this tank bomb like towards the portal that we're gonna be going to. And you're just like using things to live here.
Place patients.
Yeah, but we just kill the boss here.
Watch out.
So the like one area of the fight I think I would stress to be kind of like the most difficult. There's like 2 parts. There's figuring out like what's best for your team and like how many DPS you want to send to the ad platforms, and figuring that out. And same with like the healers. It can be like really hard to heal. We end up sending 2 healers for every platform 2 and 3. I think you can pretty comfortably make it with 2 healers on platform 3 and like 1 on 1 and 2. But it's like this moment over here that I think is the most difficult. Yeah, it's like this tank suck like from here in like the next 20 seconds. I think it's just like very fast paced and like lots of damage going out in the raid. Because if a player like places a trap like near skull, like where our portal is, it can be really bad for the raid. Or like there's just a lot of damage going out, and I think it took us like a bit too long to kind of figure out the healing CDs for this portion of the fight. So like I said, just like overcommit and like encourage players to use like their knife able links or vent their teleports for this ring set in particular. But cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I will have a link to my stream in the description, and I stream all of our progression. But have a good day.